right, I think we are live. How is it going, everybody? It's your boy PokéNav here, and today we are live from the beautiful Queen Creek, Arizona, my hometown. I'm here today with Rocky from Baxter's Games, and we are going to be discussing everything related to distributions, allocations, everything that you guys want to know about card shops and the insight that someone like Rocky can provide to us being a card shop owner. So Rocky, thanks for being here, my friend.
Yeah, of course. Happy to be here. Thank you.
I guess I should say happy for you to have me because we are in your store.
yeah. I mean, you came here like what, 2 weeks ago? Was it your first time?
I think so.
Yeah, and then you told me what you did, and surprisingly, I asked people if they knew who you were, and they did. So
yeah, which is really surprising considering it really is a small world. Like the Pokemon community really is a small community.
Right.
But yeah, guys, thank you for being here today. Like I said, we're going to go through a lot of the things that you don't really hear discussed that often. And I've talked about it before where not a lot of card shop owners have a presence on YouTube. And so you don't really get that take. And we don't really get a little bit of the insight from behind the scenes. So if you wouldn't mind, Rocky, let's go ahead and start off. Just go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and how Baxter's came to be.
Okay, so let's see. Back in 2016, November is when I first opened the store.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before that, I was a police officer in Los Angeles. And so I did a lot of community work. I wasn't in patrol for that long. I did more stuff with like schools and kid related in helping them, stay out of trouble, stay off the streets. And one thing when I grew up, when I was 16, I think I first started to play Magic. Now, I collected Pokemon from before. And so the whole collectible card game really, honestly, it kept me away from a lot of the, stupid petty theft things that you do as kids and like getting into trouble. And maybe like, if going out, partying too hard, that kind of thing. So I went to game stores, and I always remember the game store I went to was really friendly. And they kind of taught me in the whole tournament scene and the collecting scene. So when I became a cop, I would help kids by getting them in Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, or Magic. And that would keep them a lot out of trouble also because you're spending your money on cards and not on other stuff.
Yep.
And when I was 21, that's when I became a cop. Then when I was 26, got married, moved to Arizona with my wife. She got pregnant and didn't want me on patrol anymore. So I said, well, I'm going to open a game store if you don't want me out on the street and if you want me to be home and stuff at night. So after a lot of talking to her about it, her parents thought like, oh, what, you're going to open a game store and have checker tournaments and chess tournaments? That's what they thought. Like a lot of people don't, a lot of people know now what a game store is in terms of collectibles, but before, man, they did not know. Like a lot of people didn't know. So I actually made a PowerPoint presentation and showed them how a game store works and how I'd actually support my family. And so they agreed. So I opened the game store, and right off the bat, started getting in on Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, and Warhammer. So I didn't just start as like just a Magic store. I try to do like the whole spectrum of games to try to appeal to everybody. And we just kind of grown ever since. So I started, small and, took out loans, got more product, got my name out there, did tournaments, slowly paying the loans off. Now we are debt free. It took about 3 years to get debt free.
Wow.
So
that's actually really fast. That's really fast.
Yeah.
Especially for a new business. I think typically it's like 5 to 10 years for most businesses. And especially for a brick and mortar business nowadays, that's really impressive.
Right. Well, thank you. When I opened up, so we're in Queen Creek, Arizona. If you look at Phoenix, we're about 50 minutes from Phoenix. I try to be 30 minutes out from the closest game store because I didn't want to step on any toes or anything, and I'm not from Arizona originally. So I moved 30 minutes down. Now, even though I moved 30 minutes away, I still got flack from some people. And, So I did my best to just stick to myself and run the store the best way I could. And I mean, it's proven a lot. I mean, a lot of people like us. And now we started with 1 unit. We are now 4 units big.
Mm-hmm.
So we started 1,200 square feet. We're now almost 5,000 square feet.
Wow.
And so that's kind of how I started. So to answer your question, it's to help people find hobbies. I believe they're very healthy to have,
Mm-hmm.
especially your mental health. I mean, you want to have an activity that you enjoy doing,
Mm-hmm.
and especially during the lockdown, man. Like
For
you,
sure.
you need to have something where you're not just in your house,
Mm-hmm.
just you don't know what to do. So the collectibles and hobbies are really awesome for that, and then to keep people. Away from drugs and that type of thing,
Mm-hmm.
into something productive. So that's why I opened the store.
Well, that's really awesome. And card shops, I can remember as a kid back in the 90s going to card shops, and it was, the old saying of like kid in a candy store. It was like, for me, it was
Yes.
kid in a card shop.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when Pokemon first came out in early 1999, to go into the store and see all of those cards there. It was just amazing. And I know that, for you, for myself, for everyone, that was a really pivotal part of our childhood. And I don't know if other generations out there necessarily had that as much. You had sports cards, and you obviously had sports card shops.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, for our generation, it was so formative in really cultivating the things that would come for us in later years. Now, when did you actually open the store here in Arizona? What year was that?
2016 November. I did my soft opening November. So for a month, I wasn't fully set up.
Mm-hmm.
I was still kind of like, I had my walls painted and I had some fixtures set up, but I was still ordering product, signing up. So I don't know if a lot of you know, but for every manufacturer like Wizards of the Coast, Konami, Pokemon, it's called Club Pokemon,
mm-hmm.
You have to sign up with them directly to get like pre-release kits and to get certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a brand new store, if you open today and you're like, oh, Magic has this new pre-release. Oh, Pokemon has, is it Chilling Reign?
Yeah, Chilling Reign.
Yeah, that's coming out. I want to do the pre-release for them.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have signed up like, man, I want to say like 4 months in advance so they could get you on the roster and get you those pre-release kits.
Wow.
Right now, if you signed up, you're not getting any pre-release kits.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to probably get either the next set after Chilling Reign or the set after that.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Yeah, it's when you first open a store, you got to give yourself some time. You got to know, like, you're not going to get all the product that's coming out right away,
mm-hmm.
because you have to sign up with certain manufacturers that then send that information to the distributor to get you on a list and
mm-hmm.
everything like that. So, but November 2016 is when I opened.
What a great time, because that was right around the same time that Pokemon was celebrating. Not that Pokemon was necessarily your end-all reason for starting a store, but a very pivotal time for Pokemon, in that Pokemon Go had come out, and they were also releasing Evolutions and really celebrating their 20th anniversary.
Yes, that was also a time where a lot of people said, you're dumb to open a game store. Like, don't do it. There's no money in it. And at that time, man, it was hard. It was really hard. I had to be really creative on what I did and how to keep inflow coming.
Mm-hmm.
But it was worth it. Obviously, right now it's worth it because there's a huge boom. But yeah, no, before it was difficult. But if you have a goal in mind and you're committed and you stay the course, Rudy, can I mention Rudy?
Oh, for sure.
Rudy says stay the course, man. I've been following that advice ever since the store first opened. He actually helped me out. He gave me a shout out on his channel when he first started. And I've been watching his videos ever since and taking his advice. And I mean, it's worked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So stay the course.
That's really good advice. And before we move on, I just want to see who we've got here in the live chat, just to give a little bit of shout out, and also make sure everybody can hear everything okay. So we got Jake from Pallet Town. We've got Cassie Dude HD, Brandon U, and Jose Claire's So yeah, it looks like everything is working properly. Obviously, with it being in a new location, I wanted to make sure that everything was good to go. But it looks like all is well. So again, thank you all for being here tonight. Thanks for joining us in this conversation. So you open up, and everybody's telling you it's not a smart idea to open up a card shop.
Right.
And you're thinking,
including my family.
Yeah.
Yes.
So family's telling you it's dumb. Everybody else is, but you obviously saw something in opening a brick and mortar storefront. When did things really start to pick up for you guys?
So my experience, so back in 2016, the other game stores I had gone to, they weren't the cleanest. They weren't as welcoming. And I'm not talking about game stores in Arizona. I'm talking about game stores that I knew from California. So I'm not pinpointing anyone that owns a store here in Arizona before I opened up. But a lot of game stores, I didn't feel like they were that welcoming. They didn't have music playing in their store. I saw basically a big opportunity of like, how can I open a store where my wife would feel comfortable, someone's girlfriend, you'd want to go on a date there. Like, you wouldn't be embarrassed. You would take your friend that knew nothing about Pokemon, nothing about Magic, and you'd actually feel good taking them to the store because you know they would have a good time, not embarrassed, like, oh, like, you know, they would see somebody in the corner, like, you know, everyone's staring at you and it's like dead quiet where you could hear a pin drop. So so when I opened my store, I made sure I got a sound system. We would have music playing, video game music, because you know, we're gamers, and I had TVs put up. I had 5 TVs, which we would always have esports playing. So Twitch was relatively new. I feel like Twitch was maybe like 3 years old at the time or something like that. I don't know when exactly it started. But esports was just picking up, and I'm like, hey, we're going to show esports. So we were going to show Hearthstone tournaments. We were going to show the Magic tournaments, the Pokemon Worlds, all that stuff. And a lot of people really enjoyed that. And so when they saw that, at the time too, I had 6. I don't have this right now, but I had 6 big screen TVs with 6 PS4s on there with Rocket League and Overwatch. So people would come in, and I did birthday parties, and they would go and they would do 3v3 on Rocket League, and then play Overwatch together online, and they loved it. I also had a VR when it first came out, the Oculus. Oh wow! So I did like a $5 an hour rental, and people would come and try the VR. But I did tournaments. I did Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Magic, and I was the only store out here. Like I said, I was 30 minutes away from the next closest store. So I also was here for a community of, gosh, what were we, like 30,000 people out here. So there was a need for the store out here. And so we started picking up probably, I want to say, within the first 8 months. Yeah. Wow. 8 months. And I have a funny story, remind me later, about a guy who gave me a lot of Pokemon cards to get Pokemon started in my store and what they're worth now. Like, I can't believe the stuff that I found when Pokemon, I mean, he gave me at least $50,000 worth of cards for, I don't know, $200 store credit at the time. Wow. And it's because he just wanted to get Pokemon started in my store. He was very kind. I forget his name. It'd be funny if he watches this and goes, $50,000. Hold on a second. Rocky. Yeah. But just like 6 months ago when Pokemon boomed, because it was the 5,000 count boxes, 2 5,000 count boxes with just old cards, and like the ones that Wizards printed exclusively. And so that's been really great having in my store. A lot of people have appreciated that I actually have singles and a lot. Yeah. Well, and I can attest to that as well. The first time that I walked in, and I saw all of the singles that you had, and you know, Black Star promo cards, Wizards of the Coast, a lot of cards from Expedition, from Aquapolis, like cards that you really just don't see anywhere. And at the time, those cards, like, I wasn't ripping the guy off or anything, and he was more donating them, but like they weren't worth a lot. Like some of them were like $10, like stuff, you know, like stuff like that. And honestly, like, people were, man, at the time when people had those old cards, man, they were like throwing them away. So I have a donation box. You should see the things I find in my donation box. I have it right by my trash can in my store.
Mm-hmm.
People will literally, if they don't pull, the shiny Charizard, the shiny Pikachu, and they still pull like the rainbows and the other stuff, they'll just put it in the donation box. Oh, it wasn't what I was looking for. Because if not, if I didn't have it by the trash can, they would throw it in the trash.
Wow.
So
that's incredible, especially in this day.
Yeah. So if you think of back then, the cards that weren't worth anything, I just had 5,000 count box after 5,000 count box of donations that I just keep in the back. I just put it back there. And then in the future, 3 years later, then there's stuff worth like you go through, you're like, oh, $20 card, $10 card, $15 card, and it was all stuff that was going to go in the trash. So
wow. Incredible.
Yeah.
So 8 months in, and it sounds like you were doing all of the right things as well. Like you were putting things in place that other stores would not, with the sound system, the TVs, and that's really what I think it takes.
Right.
It takes being a little bit innovative. Especially in today's day and age where everything has moved online. There's so many online storefronts. But what I think is very unique about you, and I think what will propel brick and mortar card stores is after the pandemic is over and after it's all panned out, people are going to want that social connection. People are going to want to get together. They're going to want to play the TCGs together. They're going to want to be in a social environment face to face.
Yes.
So I think the rise, or I should say the resurgence of trading card or card stores, I think is...
Yeah, I already have people coming in, they're just like, oh my gosh, when are you going to start tournaments again? And they want the social interaction, they want to trade their cards, they want to show their cards. I mean, they, like right now they come in, they'll show me, but they want to show other players, like, hey, look at my pulls, look at my binders. Yeah. and I encourage that, man, because if you pulled a good card, I mean, nothing feels better when you crack a pack and you're like, oh, yes!
Oh, for sure.
And so yeah, I'm hoping, man, hopefully May, that things start coming together. But anyways.
Yeah, no, that's the sounds of it. It sounds like that's when everything should start going back to normal. I mean, here in Arizona, we've got to consider ourselves lucky in ways because we feel like we are a lot better off than many other states as far as the lockdowns and everything. So I always consider myself lucky in that regard. Yes. So let's go ahead and jump into the next topic here. And this is something that, as I said, a lot of people don't have the same level of insight from the top down. And I would say like the top down being the top is Pokemon Company International. Below that is the distributors. And then, down from there, you've got dealers, card shops like yourself. But you're really on the forefront of that. And a lot of people have questions about, they go out and they go to Walmart, and they go to Target, or even to a card shop in general, and they see how limited the supply still is and how it's really been that way since, I would say probably September of last year. Right. So let's go ahead and jump into what you have seen from the allocation and the distribution of products, and maybe how that has changed from last year until now, and kind of how you see that panning out over the course of this year.
Okay. So your first question is, what was the allocation like about a year ago? Okay. It was whatever you wanted. I mean, so Pokemon, it wasn't a big hot seller. So yeah, a year ago, if I had as much Pokemon as I had now, I would probably be in debt, big time, like trying to pay off, trying to liquidate, just throw them out there, like battle styles. Oh my gosh, what do we need to do to get our money back? Okay, let's sell them for $80 a box. Like, that's how it was last year. So like when, what was it? Like, speaking of evolutions, like the price on that. So when I got my evolutions, I think I ordered, like, when it released, like 2 cases. A case is 6 boxes, so 12 boxes. The 12 boxes lasted me probably 2 months. Yeah. Like, I mean, the allocation, there was no allocation. It was whatever you wanted. It was, hey, how much do you want? We have as much as you can get. You just let us know. Now, the allocation's huge. So I just talked to one of my distributors with Chilling Rain. It's Chilling Rain, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Chilling Rain.
Yeah, with Chilling Rain, and he was like, "Oh man, we're getting word this is going to be heavily allocated." So, I prod a little bit. I ask, what's up with the allocation and stuff. So to answer the question on why is everything so allocated. So first of all, Pokemon, they've already entered contract with, Target, Walmart, what's the other big game store? Barnes and Noble or Borders bookstore.
Yeah.
Which
is surprising.
Yeah, all of those guys, they have contracts with them and Amazon about specifically, this is how much you're going to get. They're big companies. They have to fulfill those. Mm-hmm. So then, and to answer why you can't find it there is because there is a lot of people that know the value now of Pokemon, which is honestly, I was talking to another person, this is considered an antique now. I mean, there's 25 years of Pokemon has gone by, and it's about 25 years until things start becoming antiques, very collectible, short print runs in the earlier products. So, and when people start seeing that, the value goes up. There's not a lot around. There's 8.5 billion people in the world, and then if you think about something like even something that was printed 100,000 boxes, once if everybody takes one of those, there's none left. And I don't know what the percentage is of 100,000 compared to 8.5 billion, but it's not a lot. So, anyways, people see that and they're like, "Well, I can make a quick buck. I can make some money." So, you have scalpers, whatever you want to call them. They're lining up. They know the schedule of the stockists. They know the exact time, so they're there waiting to get it and then take it home, throw it up on eBay. Also, some of them are friends with the stockists. They're friends with the managers. I mean, I heard a story that some of the managers at Walmart were actually holding back product for themselves. Now, again, these are all stories. I can't confirm any of this, but this is stuff that I hear.
Yeah, I would not be surprised because back in the late 90s, early 2000s, you had a very similar thing where you had... I just recently interviewed a guy by the name of Gary Hayes, goes by King Pokemon, probably one of the oldest, well-known collectors in the hobby. And he was saying the same thing. Back then, you had people rummaging through trash cans at Wizards of the Coast factory. Same thing, managers holding out product for themselves. So, yeah.
So I just heard a story that there was a guy who put a tracker on the shipping trucks to see when they would actually get dropped off at that Walmart, and he was in touch. We have the internet, different forums, different thing, and be like, "Yo, this thing's about to arrive in 20 minutes." So they would go and wait for the trucks to get there, and then first of all, they try to bribe the truck driver, like, "Hey, let me just get those boxes, blah blah blah." So you have to have a truck driver with integrity. But then once they drop it off, they know, okay, they got them. I'm standing right by the shelf. I'm doing whatever I can,
Yeah.
So that's why you can't find them in Walmart, Target a lot of the times. Now back to the store, my game store. What a lot of distributors do, they go by the spend of your store on how much money you spend is how much you're allocated. So like a brand new store, it's going to be very hard to get allocated a lot when you don't have a lot of spend. But the thing is, even if you have spend, you don't have money to spend because they don't have the product for you.
Right.
So even if you come with $100,000, hey, give me $100,000 worth of Pokemon, they go, "What Pokemon?" I wish I could take it, but there's no Pokemon, sorry. So I'm kind of fortunate that I had my store before this boom because I already had Pokemon spend. I'm already an official store. So a lot of us got lucky that way. Now, with how popular this is and for how everybody wants it, there is a limit on how fast Nintendo, or I keep saying Nintendo, on how Pokemon can print this stuff. And they actually have a print run that they have to follow because they have new products that come out every month. Every month, Pokemon has a new product, and then they promise reprints. So, for example, they promise reprints of Vivid Voltage and Darkness Ablaze.
Right.
So, if they know they have battle styles coming out and it's really hot and everyone wants new products, so they're probably going to say, "Hey, give a couple days." And again, I can't confirm this. This is just my theory and what I've heard. Is, hey, we could give it 3 days. Let's go ahead and blast through Darkness Ablaze or Vivid Voltage, and get as much as we can, but then we have to start the battle styles print run
Mm-hmm.
because that's the new product, that's the new hot thing. We got to get it out. But then once that's done, well, man, we got Chilling Rain that's
Mm-hmm.
coming out, and why do I keep forgetting? Chilling Rain, Freezing Rain. I gotta.
No.
We should have wrote a note.
Yeah,
so
no,
I don't
it's
sound,
Chilling Rain.
I don't sound dumb.
I had
like,
the same problem
Yeah.
with Shining Fates. I either wanted to call it Shining Legends or Hidden Fates because it's kind
Yeah.
of a mix-up. So no, I totally get it.
And so now, if Chilling Rain is supposed to be one of the biggest push sets, well, they got to get the print run for that.
Mhm.
So then they can't go back and start the reprints, and then they know, okay, well, then next month we're going to have this battle deck, or the next month we're going to have this new box set.
Mhm.
So that's why they announced that they were going to have 2 more factories
Mhm.
being built. But as you guys know, it takes time to build those factories. Like, you can't just build a factory overnight and just have printers overnight and everything. So, in my opinion, I think it's going to take them close to, at least 6 months to a year to build these factories.
Right.
So they're going to make do with what they have. But with that being said, it's good. It's good and it's bad. It's good for collectors because your cards are going to retain the value. Like, these boxes are going to retain value. These boxes are still going for $160, $165, up to like $180 on TCG Player, and they're not dropping.
Right.
That is so surprising. I mean, a year ago, if this came out, I'd be selling it for $100 on TCG Player and making like $2 a box.
Yeah, for sure.
It's crazy. But so because of this limited supply and the limit of the printers and stuff, these cards will retain value. And then the bad side is just, it's hard to get.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and I totally agree with you. And that's the one thing about modern, when I use the term modern or ultra modern, we're talking about the newest sets. And especially modern is, to me, anything released within the last year or 2 years.
Right.
There is, for vintage products, like those cards that you have out there, those singles, like those could go from $1,000 a card to $10 a card or $5 a card. Like the floor on that is so low. Whereas these, a Battle Styles booster box, a Shining Fates ETB, there's a floor there, which is usually MSRP or retail price.
Correct.
Like there is a floor there. And it's kind of what we saw in the past with even with Steam Siege, which is kind of the meme set, like arguably the worst set ever with Pokemon.
Right.
Like it dipped down to about like $75, $80 a booster box.
I think didn't Roaring Skies at one point? I know it was really popular, but after the set rotation, I think no one wanted it.
Yeah, same thing there. So it dipped down even below that, like $90 distributor level pricing. But now, Steam Siege, it's been about 5 years since its release, and now Steam Siege is $250 a booster box, even for arguably the worst set ever with Pokemon. So
and that's collectibles across the board. That's Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Magic. If you have the patience and you have the time, that's the best way you could hold. Is you wanna hold it, put it in a closet, lock the door, like don't tempt yourself. Because that's been the trend for I think the last years, like 20 years. If you just have a sealed product, like it always just goes up. Now, real quick, let me tell you the flip side about being a store with how well it's doing right now. So the flip side is if this really is all just a bubble and it's like, oh no, this will pop, everyone's just inflated right now. People are getting stimulus checks, which that all could be very true. I don't know. I can't predict the future because if I could, I'd be a millionaire, right?
For sure.
I would have got Evolutions. Oh my gosh, I would have been like, I'm going to invest. I'm going to refinance my house, get $50,000 and put it all in Evolutions, and then in 3 years, I'll sell them at. Are they $1,000 a box?
Yeah, they're sitting still. They're sitting pretty steady at about $1,000. And what's so funny, I have to say this, is because everybody out there, like I'm sure everybody in the chat is like laughing their head off right now because they know me as like the Evolutions aficionado. Because when I first started my channel, I was touting Evolutions. I was saying, look guys, I know this is sat at like $90, $95 a booster box for the last 4 years, but we're reaching, same thing, we're reaching that that threshold or that time horizon where it's going to start going up, because guess
Right.
what? They're just not going to print this anymore.
Yeah.
And with the popularity of Pokemon, especially with the vintage
Mm-hmm.
sets, you know, a base set booster box, first edition base set especially, but even like Japanese, like all of those similar sets, those first sets that came out, because Evolutions was basically a reprint of the original.
Right.
Those were all being priced out of most people's price range.
Oh yeah.
And so
Yeah.
the next best option was Evolutions.
Mm-hmm.
And then slowly but surely throughout 2020, you just saw it go up and up and up. And it has. It's stagnated at about $1,000, and it stayed right about there, which I don't see it moving up much beyond that for a little while. But I just,
You never
had
know.
to mention that.
Like, yeah, so what's scary is, so right now, battle styles, I'm like, okay, you know, this is really hot. Pokemon's really, really hot. So, Chilling Reign's coming out.
Mhm.
So, what do I tell my distributor? How many boxes do I want? Now, do I say 500? Do I say 1,000? So, if you think about it, if you're like, okay, you know, Rocky's getting them at $90 a box, Baxter's is getting them, right? So, if you think about that, and you're like, okay, well, they're selling right now. Battle Size is selling for about $160. You're like, oh my gosh, that's $70. You know, if you take out, you know, tax and fees and stuff like that, it's a little bit less. But let's just say $70.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's a killing. But if I got 1,000 boxes, what's 70 times 1,000?
Yeah.
70,000.
70,000.
70,000, maybe a little more. I don't know, but but it's a lot. It's a lot. That's sometimes what some people make in a whole year of working.
Sure.
Now, if I say, okay, I'll take $1,000, so 1,000 times 90. Here, let me let's get real numbers, because it's gonna blow your mind.
For sure, it
some
really
of this
is
stuff.
crazy.
So okay, if I sold it at 160, if that's what Chilling Reign is gonna go for, and then we had 1,000 boxes, $160,000,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is what we would make, but we paid 90. So yeah, so the 70 times, was it $70? Yeah, $70 times 1,000, $70,000. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now, at $90 a box times 1,000, so $90,000.
Mm-hmm.
But all of a sudden, it was a bubble. No one cares about Pokemon anymore. And I put my pre-orders up, and you know, I pre-sold out of the 1,000. Let's say 30.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my distributor calls me. Hey, I got your 1,000 booster boxes. Where's my $90,000?
Yeah.
And I'm like, hold on a second. Hold on. Do I have to take it all? Yeah, you do have to take it all, because I got it. We signed the contract.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, maybe I shouldn't have put 1,000. Maybe I should have only done 100. Well, I don't have $90,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, don't worry. Here's your options. You're on a payment plan now, and the payment plan is going to be aggressive, because, you know, we need money. So, you know, how does $20,000 a month sound? So we'll get paid off in 3 months. And if you can't do that, well, then I don't know how much you're going to get of Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
So now it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
A similar story happened with me with Yu-Gi-Oh. So if you don't mind me talking about Yu-Gi-Oh on a Pokemon channel, but there's a set called Genesis Impact that came out. I did 300 booster boxes of it, because I thought 300. I did 500 booster boxes of it, because everyone was saying it's a hot set. And when we do our pre-orders, we have to put them in 3 months in advance. I don't know if you know this.
Mm.
So I already have Chilling Reign pre-orders, and I already have Pokemon's a little bit more lenient. It's about 2 months in advance, but with Yu-Gi-Oh, it's about 3 months in advance. You don't know anything. You don't even know what the box art looks like.
Wow.
You just hear them say, oh yeah, I think it's going to be good, right? So I got 500 boxes, and then let's see. So I paid, so it was $27,500 for that. Pre-order, I think I had 10 pre-ordered. No one cared about it. Right now, if you go on a TCG player, they're like $48 a box.
Really?
The set flopped.
Wow.
I had to get my credit card out. I had a $19,000 limit on my credit card. I put $19,000 on it. And then luckily, I had to liquidate some stuff. But I paid it.
Yeah.
But man, that was scary.
Yeah.
And that's how it's scary the bigger you get, because you want to hit a set if it's hot. Right. But if you don't hit a set that's hot, I mean, you have these thousands and thousands of dollars, and you have to take it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So
and that's
yeah,
a similar position that we were in not too long ago with Pokemon, where it was like a certain set would do, really well, but then you might have two flop sets after that. And this was before the big boom.
right.
So in a very similar vein, you were looking at the same thing that you were looking at with Yu-Gi-Oh.
Hmm.
So
It's really everything.
hmm
It's everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
because like right now with Chilling Rain, I put in 1,000 boxes,
hmm
and I'm hoping that it's Pokemon's going to stay high. It's still going to go. Now, all the data points towards yes,
hmm
but you just never know. I mean, what happens there's things out of our control.
Yeah.
Now, not to scare anybody or anything, but like, what happens if all of a sudden we go into a war or
Mhm.
something? Like, are collectibles that valuable still? I don't know. Maybe they are. Maybe
They survived a pandemic.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. See, that's what's crazy because like Rudy, when you look at him when the pandemic started. So I remember when the pandemic first started last March. I did flash sales because my rent's $7,000 a month,
hmm
and I was like, it's not easy to come up with $7,000 a month when people aren't buying stuff.
Right.
I mean, so I did flash sales on my Warhammer product, on my Pokemon cards,
hmm
on everything, just so I could save up $14,000 to have 2 months of rent,
hmm
just in case. During that time, everyone was selling out. Everyone was selling. Stores were shutting down. Like Star City Games stopped taking buy-ins.
hmm
Other big websites that do cards, they stopped. And then Rudy from Alpha Investments, he was buying everyone's stuff.
Yeah.
And he actually made a video that you could watch. He said at that time when he bought all that stuff, he either was like, I'm the stupidest person in the world, or I'm like the smartest person in the world. But you'd never know at that moment. So he was really just taking a risk. That's all he was doing.
hmm
No, not smart or stupid. He
Yeah.
was just like, if this works out where the prices are going to go up and like people are going to want this stuff during the pandemic, I made out big. But if not, I guess I'll take the loss.
Yeah.
But the loss is only like 50% until it's done, and then it starts rising over time.
hmm
So it's really not even a loss. It's just you just have to have the time and patience.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
I think maybe we had talked about it. My former career was a financial advisor, and we had a term, or there's still a term in the financial world, where it's not about timing the market; it's about
Right.
time in the market.
Right.
So that's essentially, in my opinion, what he was doing. He knew that this was going to be a dip, much in the same manner that real estate investors go in and buy out homes
Right.
for bottom of the barrel prices, and then wait for the market, for the economy to come
Right.
back up again. So the other thing that I wanted to ask you is, so allocations have been tight, we know that, but is it because of Pokemon that they have been so limited? Is it just they just don't have the manpower, they just don't have the capacity?
So yeah. So okay, one of my distributors. So I'm gonna say this probably has to go to Pokemon level of the manufacturer, because my distributor right now, they're having a tough time just getting orders out,
Mhm.
like through the warehouse. Like he's like, yeah, we have these temps. They're not showing up to work. Like he said, what they're doing is like if you show like you have a job, and then you show up like one day and then you don't show up, you can get like unemployment. And like the
Wow.
unemployment's like really big right now, like, and so you're making more money than if you actually worked as a temp.
Mhm.
So he said like some people are doing that stuff, and they're just trying to get more people in the warehouse to package stuff up and get them shipped out on time,
Mhm.
and that is not going well. And I think that's probably the same with all the distributors. There's like about 5 major ones,
Mhm.
and so if that's happening with them, it's got to happen with the manufacturers.
Mhm.
So like Pokemon, they're in their warehouse. They're trying to up the print runs. I mean, but do they have the manpower to just get everything in boxes and get them shipped out? Does Amazon, no, not Amazon. Does UPS and FedEx, who they ship through, do they have enough truckers and everyone to get them through? Well, actually, if it's coming through the boat and through
Mhm.
the ports and everything, through China, then that's a whole nother story about time and delay, and how they're treating COVID over there with their workers, and like how many are they having manufacture over there. So yes, that is also big time hurting the supply.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's really at every level, which makes sense. I mean, we are unfortunately still in the pandemic. There's still a lot of people that aren't going to work, and it really permeates throughout the entire supply chain. It's not just Pokemon.
Right.
But I'm also interested, how how do the print runs compare between Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering? Are you still getting all the products that you want from these
No.
other companies?
So let me actually back up too to when I said I put in 1,000
Hmm.
of each product for Chilling Rain. I'm not going to get 1,000. I'm probably going to get 100.
Wow.
And I'm one of the bigger stores too
Hmm.
in terms of ordering with like a lot of cash spend
Hmm.
with them. So I'll be kind of prioritize a little bit more because I've been with them longer, 5 years, and then with the spend, so it's guaranteed that I'll take the product from them. Uh, so that's 10%, right,
Hmm.
of what I'm asking for, and it might be lower than that. Like I've requested things 1,000 and I've gotten like 20.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm not going to be getting 1,000. And they'll even split them up into waves.
Hmm.
But what did you say about other stores?
Yeah,
You
just
said
how Pokemon, the allocations for Pokemon have compared to Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh and some of the other card games.
okay. So Yu-Gi-Oh, believe it or not, is the best one.
Hmm.
They print to demand. Whatever I ask for, I get.
Hmm.
So, but then again, it's not as popular as Pokemon right now. So they probably don't, and they do it 3 months in advance.
Hmm.
So they seem to have their stuff really together in terms of the print run, because if I ask for 1,000, they'll give me 1,000 booster boxes. If I ask, so the new one goes from the passes coming out. I ask
Hmm.
for 50 displays. I will get those 50 displays.
Hmm.
That's how they operate. Magic is allocated. So there's a
Hmm.
set that just came out, Time Spiral. I think every store got like 0 to 30 boxes. Um, so I think they got like 10% of whatever they requested,
Wow.
or less than that.
Wow.
Um,
So similar allocations to Pokemon then.
yes, yes. Now, with Magic though, they do a little bit. I feel like it's higher than Pokemon, but it depends what set you're talking about and like the reprints. Right now, Pokemon's the worst,
Hmm.
and then it will be Magic and then Yu-Gi-Oh.
Hmm.
But everything seems to be having supply issues now. If you want to go into, I don't know if you ever heard of like Flesh and Blood. That's a
I've heard of it, yeah.
okay. So that game's insane. If you look up some prices on there,
Hmm.
so their first edition box right now is going for like $20,000,
Hmm.
and it came out 2 years ago.
Wow.
This game, it's a brand new game. They have issues with supply
You,
too.
I have to ask you,
And
have you seen the things on MetaZoo?
yes, so okay, so I saw Rudy did a video on MetaZoo, so I looked into it, and everyone was talking about like, oh, this could rival Pokemon, and so just with that word, and if the community really feels that way, I will go ahead and buy MetaZoo, and
Hmm.
I will go ahead and keep it, and I'll sell it in my store. But I'm actually thinking of reaching out to them directly. So,
Hmm.
what's your take on MetaZoo when you saw
Well,
it? Or
yeah. So I mean, I personally, I'm not buying into the hype on MetaZoo.
right,
I mean, you look across the board, and I'm
right.
sure you can attest for this as well. It doesn't matter what the card game is; it's just exploding.
That's what
right
I've
now.
seen. Yeah, that's what I've seen. I'm like, wait, can I just make any card game? Just say I have a first edition box, and I will not have a first edition box, and it's like, oh my gosh, well let me get that first edition box. I
Yeah.
don't care, $200.
Hmm. And I think that's essentially what they're doing. They're
Right.
taking advantage of the popularity that Pokemon garnered from having first edition boxes, first edition cards, and they're putting that out there and essentially trying to appeal to the
Right.
same kind of sentiment from
Well, man,
collectors.
it's working. Yu-Gi-Oh! Toon Chaos, the first edition box is going for like $600 around there,
Mhm.
and like a regular one's $150.
Hmm.
And so yeah, it's working. The first edition thing's really working, and it should work because those are more collectible. And yeah,
Yeah, no, and I agree. I think things like that. But you look at something like even Yu-Gi-Oh, for instance. What Yu-Gi-Oh's been around for 15, 18 years, I
yeah,
believe.
I think it's been around almost as long as Pokemon.
Yeah, I know it's
Yeah.
pretty close. I think it was released maybe 3, 4 years after Pokemon. But the way that I see it, when I look at it and I see something like MetaZoo, I see it being released during arguably the biggest
Right.
boom in the trading card world. Pokemon, on the other hand, if we do go through a bubble and we do go through even a crash, Pokemon has a very long history.
It does.
And not beyond that, Pokemon also has, it is a multifaceted organization. So they've got cards, they've got video games, they've got the show, the anime. I mean, everything. MetaZoo, cards.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the best thing I could say with MetaZoo, you know, if you could buy a box for, you know, whatever it is, $75 or whatever, you know, hold on to one.
Yeah.
See what happens. Maybe it's cool. Or if you like the game. Of course, if you like the game, then go for it. Now, I do want to say this too. I don't think you've asked me, but there are investors, and I've heard from just people I know and just from being in this industry, there are investors behind a lot of these new games.
For sure.
And now, you know, the good ones like Magic, and I'm talking about you know, $15 million net worth plus investors that have kind of took a lot of their money out of the stock market. Like, they're still doing stocks, but they're taking out and they're getting tangible things.
Yes.
Alpha Magic cards, you know, Alpha Beta Unlimited, old Yu-Gi-Oh cards, first edition, Pokemon first editions, and old cards, and Flesh and Blood first editions. Now, I think it might only be a matter of time of what happens with MetaZoo, because if you just have people just buying stuff out, I mean, that's just, the market just takes that, and then people, you know, go with the hype. Now, Dragon Ball Super is another game I carry. That game has gone crazy. Like, so those booster boxes, they were nothing. Everyone told me they were garbage. They sucked. I just kept them in my back room. All of a sudden, some Dragon Ball boxes are going for like $300 to like a couple $1,000s, and single cards. They're doing buyouts right now on TCG Player. I don't know if anyone plays Dragon Ball Super, but literally there will be cards on there, $30 one day. The next day they're going for $1,000 because someone just did a whole buyout. That is going on so much right now. And I feel like a lot of these investors are probably some of the people doing it because they have the capital for it.
For sure.
So it's, man, it is really interesting what's going on in the whole collectible market. And I'm sure with Pokemon, it's probably going to happen if it hasn't already. I don't know if there's been cards like that, like buyouts with cards. Maybe the print run is too much. With Dragon Ball, it's really small print runs, but yeah, we'll see with Pokemon.
Yeah, well, and with Pokemon, especially the vintage products, we don't know how much is actually out there. So I think it's really difficult to try to do buyouts on it. And even though we do, you know, complain about the print runs and there not being enough, I would say that of all the TCGs out there, it's probably the most heavily printed among all of them. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, that's why I don't think you see it so much in that realm with those same type of investors.
Yeah. Because the only thing that I would think maybe Magic Pokemon's pretty good. Yeah. I'd say Pokemon.
Yeah. So you've been in this for a while now. Obviously right now things are crazy with allocations. Things are crazy with distributions. I know a lot of people who are wanting to be resellers and want to actually work with distributors, but very few distributors are actually taking on any new customers at this point. And it was so serendipitous because, like I said, I've lived out here in Queen Creek now for, over a year. I lived out here a year prior as well. And I was surprised that this was the first time I'd been out here. And it was so serendipitous because when we first met, you told me that you had just started or recently started your own distribution company.
Yes. So I started, and this was before like Pokemon like really went crazy. I got my distribution license and everything. I started back in like November or October. I think my license says October of last year, so 2020. And I wanted to start my own distribution company for probably the last 2 years because there was some things with distribution that I wanted to improve on. Just like how I opened my store because I'm like, oh, I can make a store that's improved upon all these other stores I've been to and be a better experience. I felt like I could be a much better experience to other stores by making my own distribution company. So we're called Goblin Distribution, and right now we have about 5 stores under us. since October. And we do some things with YouTubers like PokéNav. There's another guy, PokéDalt.
Yeah, shout out PokéDalt.
Yeah, that we do that we sell to, and so what I want to change is the inconsistency that I told you about. Hey, put in 1,000. Hopefully you'll get 10%. But if not, you have to take it all, and hopefully you have the money. And if you don't, oh well. That I want to change that stuff for new stores. Like I don't want to put pressure on them where, hey, you have to put in 1,000 because it's going to be allocated. But guess what? If it comes in, you're going to owe me like 50 grand. I know they don't have 50 grand, so I'm not gonna play that game with them. I mean, that's the goal anyways. And to achieve that goal, I have an idea for an app I want to make that links up with the distribution that goes direct to the store, to the manufacturer. So there's communication with all of us. Dude, there's no communication with me and the manufacturer and the distributor. It's so the communication is so poor. And I want to try to solve that where we're all on the same page. That way, more stores are staying in business, not going out of business. We're actually here to help you succeed. And because I own a store, I actually know products, and I could talk to you about the product that you want to sell. A lot of reps of a lot of distribution companies, they're salespeople. I have some reps, they don't even know how to play the game. They don't know. They just know like, for example, I'll say like, hey, Pokemon, like, what should I get? I don't know, but Jim bought he put in a 2,000 in his order, so this looks like a hot product. You should take it. And I look, and it's like a starter deck. Of like something.
Build
and I'm like,
battle deck.
I'm like, really, the build and battle deck, so not the pre-release build and battle kits, but like the ones where it's like Pikachu versus something.
Yeah.
And or like here's a good one, the new one, the Ninetales versus Sandslash deck, and it's like, oh dude, you're gonna want to have thousands of those, and I'm like, okay, really? Or is it because you're trying to get rid of them?
Exactly.
And I'm like, okay, well, tell me, like, why do people want it? And they can't answer. And honestly, that's just their job. They're just salespeople. And so for me, owning a store and knowing the games, knowing the community, knowing what sells in my store, I could help other stores and help them succeed through also my trials and tribulations that I've already gone through, and saying like, yo, this doesn't work. Hey, don't do this. Hey, if you're going to run a tournament, do it this way. You want to make money off your tournament. You don't want to lose money. Because then you're going to go out of business. Just different things that I could really help with. And right now, I'm trying to build up my stores. I'm trying to build up other people signing up with us so we could start going direct with, Pokemon, Wizards, and I could apply to be main distributor with them. It is a hard, long road to be a distributor because honestly, you need $500,000 to be a distributor. Because you got to pay quarterly. Like I haven't reached out yet because I still want more stores under me before I reach out. But I call Pokemon. Hey, I want to be a distributor. Okay, you're gonna have to spend $250,000 a quarter. Or $500,000 a quarter, right? So every 3 months, that's how much product you're gonna have to take in, and you sign a contract. So I'm kind of fortunate enough that I have supplies from my store that I could, start with in order to do this. And so, so hopefully I'll be a good distributor. We'll have a lot of good things coming. And then if anyone out there that is watching this has a store and you want Goblin distribution to be part of your store, I guess, I don't know. What should I say? Email baxters.richard@gmail.com. Baxters.richard@gmail.com.
And I'll be sure to put all of the information down in the video description as well. But beyond just like other brick and mortar stores, any of you out there who are wanting to be a reseller, maybe you have an online store and you want to reach out to Rocky. All I can say is that it's been fantastic because having been in this for quite a few years now, and I used to have back in 2016. I was a reseller then as
Right.
well. And back then it was so easy. I mean, like I worked with GTS here in Phoenix, and you could just get things whenever you wanted.
Right.
I could say, hey guys, I want, back then I'm trying to think of, we'll say evolutions. Hey guys, I want to get a case of evolutions this month, and then it could be like a month later, 2 months later. Hey guys, can I get some of this? Oh yeah, sure. Because it wasn't as in demand, and you could just get kind of whatever you want. Now
Right.
it is next to impossible to try to find a distributor.
Yes, and they actually stopped taking people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think unless you're a brick and mortar store, but even then, like I heard it takes a month to get signed up with them.
Mm-hmm.
And they stopped taking like YouTubers and breakers.
Yeah.
I talked to a lot of my distributors, a lot of different ones, and they're just like, no, so at one point they were getting 50 calls a day. So if you think about it, if you have a distribution center, and there's multiple around the United States depending on which one. So like Southern Hobby, they have I think like 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
GTS have like 5. Each rep was getting 50 calls a day. And there's like 3 to 5 reps. So that's like 250 calls per distribution center. If there's 5 main ones, I mean, what is that? 1,000 people a day were calling to get signed up with the distribution.
Yeah.
So they just cut it. They're not accepting it. So for me, everything has to be legal. And you have to have proof. You have to have some sort of online store. You have to have something. Brick and mortar. I really encourage the brick and mortar stores to call me email me. Yeah, I'm taking time so I can get more people under my belt so I can go direct with
Mm-hmm.
straight to the manufacturers, Pokemon, Wizards, and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm taking a couple people.
Yeah.
Yes, there are a couple.
No, and I think you're doing it really smart in that you're starting small and then scaling up.
Right.
Because I think especially there's probably a lot of people out there that are resellers, and a lot of people that I've talked to where they really bit off more than they could chew in the beginning, and then they were just completely bombarded and then just could not sustain that kind of growth. Which, I mean, it's a good problem to have in some ways.
It is. Right now is a crazy time.
Yeah.
I never thought I would see this, to be honest. Like, I wasn't thinking a year ago, like, oh yeah, man, Pokemon, dude, everyone's going to want it. I'm going to have so many people coming into the store being like, where's your Pokemon? Like, and so, but I mean, it's a good time to be alive, and I guess, you take advantage of the time and ride the wave.
Ride the wave.
But then, this wave might keep going, which is just crazy. I've never seen this.
Yeah.
I've never seen this.
Yeah. I think eventually Pokemon, I think that it will kind of go back to a little bit more level of normalcy as people start to get out, start to spend more money on the things that they were before, vacations, everything like that.
True, but the 25th anniversary big stuff that they're doing hasn't even happened yet.
It's true. Yeah.
And like, so me personally, this was the set I was concentrating on to see if Pokemon was going to die back down and if this was just a phase. And this is still a $165 box.
Yeah.
And because of what I know is coming out in the future, which is just like insane compared to battle styles, I'm like, okay, this is going to last at least 2 more years.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Like,
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and like we were talking about before, even if the hobby itself, if people are spending more money, maybe that affects like the secondary market for like vintage products. But as I said, people are going to want that social connection. Things like Pokemon Worlds, regional tournaments, all those different events are just going to get more and more popular.
Also, it's a really big deal. So I have 4 kids. I have nostalgia because when Pokemon first came out, I think I was in like 4th grade. But now my kids want to play it. And because we know what it was before, we were actually buying it for our kids. When my parents were like, oh, Pokemon, like what? How much? $4 a pack? And then like, oh, I don't know. Okay, 1 pack. Like, and they didn't really. I feel like a lot of parents they were just like, okay, we'll just buy you a little bit, like like because they didn't have any connection to it. They were just like, what is this, cards?
Yeah.
But us, we get the nostalgia, and we're just like, my kid wants Pokemon. Okay, let's get in there, because I have some parents that are like, they're starting to collect again.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
And they're dropping. They're like, okay, and they have jobs, so they're like, hey, here's $500. I want to get a bunch of boxes and some Shining Fates and stuff because I want to collect every Shining card. I want to have every card of Battle Styles.
Yeah.
Like so because of that, I mean, that's a huge thing where I know, okay, this is going to stick around for a long time because then that's going to happen with their kids and then their kids to their kids because it's been around for so long.
Oh, yeah. We're really, I've said it before, we're really on the precipice of Pokemon in many ways because now it is going to be an intergenerational hobby. Where it started out with us. We were the first generation to start out with it. Now we're passing it on to our kids, and then, perhaps they will pass it on to their kids. They'll remember, hey, I remember when Dad would take me into the store, and he was so happy about it, and I was happy because we bonded over something. And I can see this just going down as long as Pokemon is a viable business entity and they survive, then the collectors and everybody that is involved will carry it forward.
Right. Yes.
So that's actually a really good segue because talking about people getting back out into social gatherings, getting that whole social aspect back into it. You have a new business venture beyond the store, beyond distribution company. I really am excited to get into this. You have something planned where you're really wanting to create a hub here in Arizona for really collectors of all TCGs in general.
Yeah, so about 2 years in, when I first opened my store, so about 2018, I expanded. And so, I was paying, I think at the time, $5,000 in rent. And I had my third kid on the way. Yeah, third kid on the way. And I'm like, okay, so I'm paying my bills. It's kind of paycheck to paycheck when you run a store because you want to keep expanding, getting more product. And the amount that product comes out, oh my gosh, for every game, it's like every month. For Games Workshop, every week is a new release. So you have to have that capital. And so, you pay your bills what you can, and then everything else goes into the new product, and you hope it's good and sells. So I was like, okay, when I'm like 60 years old, and I'm paying this guy, my landlord, $5,000 a month, and I'm like, okay, time to retire, and like send my kids to college. Or like, what do I have to show for it?
Yes.
And if I like close down the store, it's like, okay, that was a fun 30 years. Like, here's your building back, and like, here's all the money I gave you, and I have nothing to show. So I said, I need to buy either a building that I own, so I pay a mortgage on it and not rent, or I got to build one. So at the time, this was before the housing market went crazy, which is crazy out here, guys. I don't know. It's got to be crazy everywhere in the United States.
It's very, very crazy in Arizona.
But I got so blessed that I found this. So about 1 mile from my shop on a busy main street called Ellsworth and the cross streets Empire, there was 3.36 acres of land. And a nice lady from Florida was selling it for $300,000. The property right next to it is commercial. So I'm like, okay, I just got to get it, rezone it, and I could do my building. Well, I went in escrow. We just closed in January. I was in escrow for 1.5 years.
Wow.
When that closed, the value of that land right now is $700,000.
It's incredible.
Now, when I rezone it, so the property right next to me that was 1 acre, someone just bought it. They're going to build a gas station, and they're trying to make like a center. He bought it. He bought 2.9 acres for $2.8 million. So almost $1 million for 1 acre of raw land commercial. So I'm still in the middle of rezoning it. Hopefully by the end of summer it'll be rezoned. I'm making it commercial. I'm going to sell 1 acre of it. I plan to sell 1 acre and then to build a gaming castle with the money I get from that, which will be. So this is all hopeful speculation.
This is exciting.
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
I'm just going to tell you right now, this is super exciting.
So I want it to be 20,000 square feet, and I want it to have stores within the castle dedicated to its own game. So its own Pokemon store that will be Pokemon themed inside. Have a dedicated employee that just knows Pokemon and has the Pokemon team. The goals that have, a play set of every Pokemon card in there at all times. if I sell it, I somehow get it, reorder it. I don't know from wherever, but we always have it. We have a VIP Pokemon room where we have slabs of PSA graded cards. Beckett Pokemon, like
Amazing.
very VIP room. And then we have that for Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Dice, RPGs like D&D, Warhammer, other tabletop games. They each have their dedicated store. And if you ever been to Disneyland, like on Main Street, how you have all the stores together, but they're all connected inside, and you could just walk through. I want to have that. So you walk into the castle on the left side, you go into like the Pokemon store, but then you could just walk down, and then you're just in the next store, and it's all themed and everything. I want to be able to seat like 600 people for events. And then we're also going to have an arcade. We're going to have esports like Smash Brothers, big tournaments like that. What else? A restaurant or a place where you could eat. So it's going to be kind of like.
Well, and you were also saying that it would be a place where you would hope to be able to host regional tournaments.
Yes,
as well.
yes, regional. So what I plan on. So this is like a 2-year plan. This is out in 2 years, possibly more. But I want to have before our grand opening, my calendar filled for the whole year. Every weekend, some sort of big tournament, either a Worlds or regional, for whatever game. Have people like you doing box openings, inside the castle. Just a lot of stuff for players, a lot of stuff for collectors, a lot of stuff for anyone that's really into gaming. Even to the point where I want Legos in there. You know, you got Legos and stuff, and so kids could get into that early on, and then they get into the other games. And but yeah, so that's my idea. Someone said to me, they're like, "Oh, you should build a hotel right next to it on the land, and you could make like a small little resort."
Yeah.
And I mean, 3.36 acres. That's what is that? That's like 120,000 square feet. Like that is possible
for sure.
Now it is a lot of money, so I mean, I'll have to take it one day at a time. But and then Goblin distribution will be also in there. In the beginning,
probably your main headquarters will be located.
Yeah,
there.
well, in the beginning, but then as the castle grows, because I'm going to have it in the castle too, because it's 20,000 square feet, which is just massive.
Yeah.
But then as we grow,
it's like the size of Logan Paul's.
Yeah, exactly. But then as we grow and hopefully get more popular, I will start phasing out the distribution center to its own building, and then it will be all castle. And then I have something above that. I don't even think I've told you. So now this is like 10-15 year plan.
Okay.
I want to do like the start of Baxter's theme park, where it's a gaming theme park. So the first phase, that's obviously really expensive. But the first phase, like I told you about Disneyland, how you have Main Street, you actually build a Main Street where it's all those stores I was talking to you about that was in the castle. Those are just smaller versions. These are actual stores just dedicated absolutely to that game. The goal is to have almost everything that has existed in there that you could go down, you could buy, look at, purchase, what have you. But then at the end, instead of the Disney Castle, you have an arena for your game where you could fit like 3,000 people in there. Wow. And so that you really have worlds. I mean, you host something every week. Yeah. Like almost every day. You have something that you're hosting. And then you do have a hotel there, so when people travel, they could stay. And then if that is successful, then you can start branching out into different rides and different things. That's like 15 years down the road, 10 to 15 years. But it's
I'm interested where I mean, there's not a whole lot of space here in Queen Creek. Anybody that has been to Queen Creek before knows there's not a whole lot of land available out here because it's all been
so
built
there's
up.
not, but there's a lot of farms, and a lot of farmers are starting to like, Schnepp Farms. Yeah. They're doing. Have you seen that? They're doing the whole amusement park thing called Potato Land. Yeah. I was just thinking this the other day. I was like, I wonder if I approached them and showed them like, hey, Baxter's, Baxter Land, like if they would actually integrate it because they already do it. Yeah. And they're just like, yeah, sure, let's go ahead and do, that. So I mean, there's options, but also if not Queen Creek, there's available land out here. Oh yeah. But anyways, yeah. So that's what's coming. So yeah, the castle. Hopefully in 2 years, the price of lumber tripled. So I got quoted $1 million to build. It's now $3 million. I'm looking at alternatives. if anyone knows alternatives, let me know.
Mhm.
I looked at a place where they just use cement cinder blocks for the whole building.
Mhm. Well, I
But
think that's pretty much what they've done. When I see all of the new commercial construction over in Gilbert, anyone that's familiar with the Phoenix Valley,
right.
over in Gilbert, they're putting in, well, just right off of the 202, they put
Hmm.
in all of those big distribution centers. I didn't see a
Yes, yes,
single stick of wood when they were constructing that.
right.
It was almost all concrete
And I
and
think
cinder.
that's I think that's might be the route I have to go. But yeah,
Mhm.
so that's the dream,
That's amazing,
and
man. That's amazing.
hopefully we'll
Well,
get there.
that and I mean, it is fully endorsed, obviously, by me. I think that that is something that would go just completely above and beyond what people are accustomed to. Like, you know, this is one of those hobbies where it is very niche in the sense, like, you know, we get people together here in, like, and you've got a pretty big store here, but we may get 20, 30, 50 people in here. Yeah, I could be
Right,
wrong,
right, right.
you know, on
Yeah,
a
yeah.
busy day. But something like that, where you've got everything all under one roof, and when everybody can start traveling again, and they have this like
Oh yeah.
destination where they know, like, this is the place to go for all things TCG, not just Pokemon, but
Oh
everything.
yes, yeah, and that's the goal. One stop experience that's a premium experience that you'll really enjoy.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that's what I'm going for.
Hmm.
And like just having it. I mean, because right now I was thinking like if you could go somewhere and let's say they had framed in their VIP room the whole first edition Shadowless set.
Hmm.
I mean, just looking at that, like that is a piece of history right there because there's not a lot out there. I mean,
No.
do you know how many completed sets there are?
I,
That I heard it's in the 20s.
Well, what's interesting is that if you look at the population reports, especially
Yeah.
for like PSA 10s,
Hmm.
there's actually, for most cards, there's more in that first edition, like, so just first edition base set, than there are shadowless. Shadowless cards in of themselves are actually more rare than the first edition.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty
So
crazy.
imagine going in there and you see a full set of that framed up on the wall, with like a little description under it, just like in
Hmm.
an art in an art studio or something, and then you have one of those with Magic, with Yu-Gi-Oh.
Hmm.
You show like just really rare stuff, like even something like a booklet of how to play that was first from the starter deck that are just in
Yes.
display cases. Like I know a lot of people that would travel just to go and tour that.
Oh, for sure.
And
Because at that point,
right,
it's almost like a museum.
correct.
It's like a dedicated museum to this type of
Correct.
history.
So you go, you see all that, and then you go to a case, and you're like, "Hold on a second, is that a PSA Wigglytuff?"
Hmm.
And you're like, "Man, Wigglytuff's my favorite," or like, I've always liked that. I could actually buy that right now,
Hmm.
or I could trade into that,
Hmm.
And so just having those options because you can't really do that in any other place.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are some stores out there that do have that, but if the goal is, you're always just you're trying to be this hub of like the most rare,
Hmm.
the exotic items, and along with everything else.
Hmm.
I just think, man, what a great experience that no one has done yet, and someone probably will do it, and
Hmm.
maybe even before me. But I'm planning on doing it here. So
Yeah, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Having it in my own backyard, at least for now. Now I'm going to be moving a little bit further out of the valley here in the next like 6 months or so. But we'll still have our house here in
Right.
Queen Creek, so it'll still be in my backyard.
Very cool.
But that is so cool, man. And like I said, if there's anything that I can do, anything that I can help
I
you with to
appreciate it.
promote it,
Yeah.
because I know it looks like the chat is blowing up with that too. People would love to see something like that. Yeah, anything that I can do, and I'm sure the community would
Yeah.
promote the heck
Oh,
out of
thank
that.
you. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Yeah, well, I thought about doing, like a Kickstarter for some of the expenses of it,
Mhm.
just because I mean that's a lot, man. $1 million. Like I don't know how much I'll be able to sell 1 acre for, um, but for the inside and the interior of what I want it to look like and just how it's going to be themed.
Mhm.
I thought of doing something like that where so I plan on having a drawbridge. and a built moat in the front of it that has like a fountain going under.
Oh wow!
And the drawbridge, now you can't lift it up and raise it. That's what my architect said. But we will have bricks on the drawbridge with people's names that have helped contribute in some way. So you're going to be on there already because you've already have been here and helping. I mean, you have me on right now, and so but if you've ever been to Disneyland, they have bricks in front of their park of people's names and stuff. So I plan on doing that. I think that's exciting. But yeah, we'll see. Well, I'll definitely let you guys know when something happens, either through you, PokéNav, or through our Facebook, Baxter's Realm, or website, Baxter's Realm. I don't know. Somehow it will get out there.
Yeah.
But we're gonna stay the course, and we're always gonna push forward.
Yeah.
We're not going to give up.
The words of a legend.
Oh my gosh.
So like I said before, guys, I'll make sure to link all of that up down in the video description below so you guys can check that out. Rocky also has a YouTube channel for Baxter's, so maybe he'll be posting some.
Yeah, Baxter's Realm. Just search that on YouTube. I haven't posted in a long time. I before we got on, I commemorated PokéNav for doing this and being consistent with it because, man, when I started my YouTube channel and Twitch, I mean, it's a full-time job. So I just didn't have time. I was like, I have to concentrate on the store and concentrate on my family. And then later on down the road, maybe something could come. But I do plan on doing some YouTube videos, definitely more. I actually wanted to make a series of from when I first opened my store and the day in the life of like a game store owner.
Oh yeah.
And I think I made like 2 videos if you go back in the very beginning.
Yeah.
I would love to do an update and just tell you all the hardships and all the things
for sure.
about it. But yeah, I don't know. One day maybe we'll get back to it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, cool. Well, I think now would be a good time. I'm going to get a little bit closer to the screen. I'm going to see if there's anybody in the chat that would like to ask Rocky a question. We'll kind of get into a little Q&A here. So if anybody's got any questions here in the chat, we'll go ahead and jump into those. Let's see. And again, thank all of you guys for being here. Let's see. My boy Collecting with Jules is in the... I got to ask you, are you going to be having comic books in there as well?
Okay, so I don't have comic books right now because I don't know the comic world. But my business partner... he does know the comics world. He wants comics so bad. He works full time at a real estate company, so he's actually gonna be working at the castle once it happens, and he's bringing comic books in. So I'm leaving him in charge, and I'm just gonna be like, "Hey, you do it. You concentrate on it." So yes, we will have it at the castle. Right now, we don't have it at our store, but we will.
Wow, yeah. Jules will be happy about that. I know that. Let's see. Do you sell Yu-Gi-Oh at your store?
Oh yeah, we do tons of Yu-Gi-Oh. I actually just bought a Starlight Zeus because I bought it from a guy in Guatemala. I had to have one as an owner. I'm like, if I don't have a Starlight Zeus, it's a card. His name's Divine Arsenal Zeus. I mean, he's in like almost every deck right now. So I play it. Every game I play in the store. Just so I could talk about it, I could talk to people about it and connect with them and know what I'm selling. But yeah, so we do sell Yu-Gi-Oh.
Awesome.
We have a lot.
Yeah, there's a ton here. And again, guys, any of you that live in the Phoenix Valley, any of you guys that are down here, make sure you guys come in and check out Baxter's, because I've been to all the other card stores, and this isn't to like undermine any of the other card shops, but this place, it really is above and beyond what I have found in the Phoenix metro area. So make sure that you guys stop in. Just search Baxter's on Google, any of your search engines, you guys will find it. And as I said, I'll put his info down in the description. Let's see. Garbodad says, do you personally collect any cards? I collect Pokemon and Dragon Ball Super, but sell Pokemon, Dragon Ball Super, and Yu-Gi-Oh.
So as a store owner, I try to, especially when it first comes out, I try to get a play set of the first edition. So like when Final Fantasy TCG came out, I have a play set of all 3 of the first sets. Actually the first set, all the cards started going up with all this stuff. But Final Fantasy didn't really take off as that much, but recently with all the other collectible card games, it has been going up, and I just held on to it. Digimon that just came out, I have a playset of all the first set of 1.0 in English for Magic because it's so old. With my store, I just started, when a new set comes out, I try to get a playset of 4. So to answer your question, yes, I try to do that. So I'm doing that now with Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah, I'm doing it with every game. But now I kind of have the flexibility to do that. When I first started, I couldn't afford to do that.
Yeah.
I had to sell it. Now I have a little bit more money to do it. So yes, I do collect. I try to collect all of it.
Business first, fun later.
Yeah. Now, if anything came down to it, I would sell them. Like if there's something happened with the store. So one thing as a store owner, you can't create an attachment.
Yes.
If you create an attachment, you're going to hoard all your products.
Well, and
like I'm going to be like, no, this Shining Fates is mine, not yours. And you're going to be like, oh, okay, I guess the game store owner doesn't want to sell his stuff to me.
Well, and it's the same thing also with investing in that, and it's something that I've always voiced, is that for me, it's always more difficult to try to be a collector than an investor because like with an investment, you want to hold that for your collection,
right.
But when you see like the value in it, like to me, if it doesn't hold a sentimental value, then I look at it as an investment. And I feel like you really have to be able to delineate between what's an investment and what's your collection, just as a business owner has to delineate between what am I willing to hold and what do I need to sell.
Right, correct.
So, yeah, it really trickles down.
I will tell you one thing I won't sell. I have a Charizard that I pulled. So I was like 10 years old. We were going to my friend's birthday. We picked him up some packs, and we stopped at my house before we went. Well, me being the kid I was, I opened the packs that was for his birthday present, and I pulled the Charizard from the base set.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. And my mom's like, what did you do? Now we got to go back to Target and buy him more packs. So we went, bought him more packs, went to his birthday, and he opens them, didn't get anything. I'm like, hey, this is what you were supposed to get, this Charizard.
Well, thank God that she didn't say, now you've got to give him.
I know, yeah. No, I was like, no, you're buying more packs for him. And so I still have that card, and it's in my display case in a barrel I have up in the front of the store.
Wow.
Unless I sent it in to get graded. But I kept it in a junk drawer for, 20 years. Yeah, I'm 33, so yeah. For like 23 years, I just kept it in this junk drawer, and then through all my moves, I just always had it.
Yeah.
And then I found it, I was like, oh my gosh, I still have it. So yeah, that's one I will like never trade.
Yeah, well, it's amazing. You know, when I got started back again in 2016, it's the same thing. I found my binders in my parents' closet, and I actually did not send any of those in to get graded until like last year. I just kept them in there. I said, yeah, just keep them in here in the binders. And finally, after so many years, I mean, I had been doing buying and selling and investing for 4 years prior to that, and finally last year I finally sent them in to have them graded. All right, let's see what else we've got here. Let's see. What are the pack cards and collectibles says? What are his thoughts on Digimon?
So so the thing with Bandai, who makes Digimon, they short print boxes like crazy. So like that's why Dragon Ball Super has gone up so much, because there's not a lot out there. That's the same with Digimon right now. Like the allocation for Digimon was stupid. I think I put in 200 boxes and I got 7. Wow. So the prices are really high right now. And if that continues how Bandai operates, so the game's a lot of fun. The game is awesome. From a game point of view, it's fun. If you want to play it, it's great. The cards are expensive. From a financial standpoint and like investing into it, I think it's gonna hold, because it's like the print run is so like every store here in Arizona, they got like 0 to, I think like one store got maybe 30, but that was it. Wow. And so if you go, okay, well, all the stores in Arizona, so that means you got maybe 200 boxes that were floated around in Arizona. Jeez. That's such a small amount. Yeah, so that's kind of how I feel about Digimon. And then really quick, I wanted to mention this. For anyone that's doing the third-party reselling, like through websites or anything, never repack. So don't repack your stuff. meaning opening, taking the card out, and then putting a garbage rare in there and sealing it, it actually hurts you. You think like you're going to be making more money, but you want people to pull the good stuff. So it's always excited me when someone comes into my store, they buy a box, they pull that shiny Charizard or Pikachu. I got a call today. Someone bought a battle, no, not a battle styles. They bought a Vivid Voltage box from me, and he called me and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I got that giant Pikachu with my son." You want to hear those stories, and you want them coming to your store telling people, because then people know you're reliable, and they're going to want to buy from you. Because I've had a lot of people come to my store because they know I don't repack. I don't do any weighing. I don't do anything. I actually mix my packs up so you can't map them and like feel them and all that stuff. And you know it's legit because I've had a lot of people come to me and say they got burnt.
Oh, for sure.
Amazon, eBay, and that's happening a lot. So if you're a third-party reseller, don't do it because you want the review saying like, "Yeah, I pulled this, I got this, like this is awesome," like because that's going to bring you more business and more reliability than just making. I mean, you don't even make that much more when you repack because you keep the card and you sell it for like $100.
Well, and it's
just not worth it.
It's just, and it's also extremely unethical.
Yeah.
It's just super unethical.
Yes,
and that's one of the reasons why I think, some of the box breaks that you're seeing online, like recently I did a box break on my channel for a black and white base set, which is about 10 years old. And, when people look, like another guy who goes by PokéNav, he does a lot of these. Yeah. There is so many people out there that are doing things like repacking, weighing packs, and then saying that they're unweighed, or just, scamming people, just outwardly scamming people, opening packs, resealing them, putting cards that aren't even from that set, especially vintage packs. To me, that's why box breaks and getting into some of those type of things, or even just buying sealed product in general from a reliable source, is so important, because there are so many people out there that are ripping people
and it's
off.
always worth it to spend a couple extra dollars to know it's reliable. It just is. Like if you're just like, "Oh man, it's $10 more here," trust me, from the feels bad of knowing you saved $10 or even $30 when you open up your stuff and it's all junk, and you're just like, "Oh man." Yeah.
Well, and that's I've seen a lot of things that have been disseminated out on YouTube or just the internet in general. People saying, "Oh, the prices on." They look at the prices on, like, let's say a booster pack on eBay, and then they look at the price of booster packs for a box break, and they say, "Oh, these box breakers are charging so much more." Well, here's the thing that most people don't realize is that, first of all, you don't know what it actually costs that person to acquire that booster box.
That is very true. There's been a lot of stuff that I've ran out of that I buy on Amazon. Or I buy on eBay and try to... And so, like, before, if I was getting $90 and I ran out, and then this is $150, right? I might find someone to do it for $130, but then for me to make money, I now have to sell at the $160 price.
Right.
Yeah. So that's very real.
And and I think it's just kind of the ignorance of a lot of people out there that don't understand that, and it's also the ignorance of people that have not bought a lot of product, especially vintage product, and have seen how pervasive it is that people are ripping each other off. So, and then you also have to take into consideration the price on just a single pack being sold on eBay, where it could be weighed. You don't know if it's unweighed. Right. And then you also have to take into consideration the time that it takes for somebody that's doing that box break to advertise it. And then also the transaction fees that go into something.
Yes,
like that.
there are. There's also the shipping, the packaging, the cost on that. Now, another thing is, so that's why at my store, I'm not like your bottom dollar store, like the Best Savings, and I can't be. I sell these at $180. Now they're $165 on TCG Player. So, I mean, I'm outward. I'm just like, hey, it is a little more, but here's the thing. If I sold them for less, like if I sold them for that price of what I used to at $110 or $115, a guy would come in here and say, "Oh, how many do you have? 100? I will take all of them right now."
Exactly.
And he'll take them, and then he'll go and make money. And I'm like, hold on a second. I'm a store. I need to make money to stay open. so you're making all the money, and you're
Mhm.
just like taking that from me.
Well,
So
and it's also a numbers game
right,
too, because in the past where you said I could easily get 1,000 boxes and now I'm getting 10% of that, if you want to
correct,
meet your bottom line, you
right.
obviously are going to
Plus,
have
I
to
want to
charge
serve
more.
a big variety of customers in person, face to face,
Hmm.
not just a faceless person online that I don't
Hmm.
know who I'm selling to. So they're 180 because I will have the product still. Like
Hmm.
I have people like I'm telling you, they thank me. They come in and they're like, dude, I've been everywhere. I've been to Walmart, I've been to other game stores, I've been to Target. They don't have anything. You at least have it. I just want it.
Hmm.
I either want to open it with, my family, I want it for myself, I want to open it on stream, and you're the only place that has it. So it's only because, and I mean it just is what it is. It's
Hmm.
only because I charged at the 180 that I still have some to still bring people enjoyment.
Yeah.
If I didn't, then I would be gone too. I would
Hmm.
just be like, hey, sorry, we're sold out. So everyone's sold out. You can't do what you were planning on doing tonight, you
Hmm.
know. And so people do appreciate that. And so I do still try to serve the community in that way, just to keep it in stock. And I mean, I don't have tons of this. I mean, because people still buy it. Like, I had 15 people come in today and buy just because no one has it anymore.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and guys, and you got to keep something in mind too as things start to work their way back out, as Pokemon increases the allocation, or I should say decreases the allocations, and there's more product out there, the card shops, the online resellers, their prices will then reflect that accordingly. So as more of that comes out and there's more product available, that price per product is then going to come back down
Right.
to where it was before.
Yeah.
So we're all in this supply chain conundrum
Yeah, and
together,
it's weird
really.
because the market's trying to find itself too. Because obviously, if this was overpriced, no one would buy it, and then I would be stuck with a bill to my distributor
Hmm.
of like, "Hey, Rocky, where's that, $20,000 if I'm trying to, sell this for some crazy price." But yeah, because of the short supply and how much people are just like grabbing it up,
Hmm.
I'm just trying to keep it in stock.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
anyways,
Well, let's go ahead and grab one more question here. Let's see. See if there's any more in here. Okay, J Red Collect says, is he accepting in-person pre-orders for Chilling Reign at MSRP?
so right now, I don't have any like I don't know what my allocation is, so I'm not doing any pre-orders. Once I know my allocation, so a lot of people don't know this too. The MSRP of let me tell you what the exact MSRP is. A lot of people think the MSRP of like a booster box is like $100 or 110.
This is also another big misconception out there.
Yeah, the MSRP for a booster box is $144. Because it's $4 a pack, and then there's 36 packs, so it's 36 times 4, which is 144. But Pokemon just announced, and my distributor just told me they're charging more for Pokemon now to us.
Really?
Yeah, so they're raising the price, and I'm not sure if Wizards got rid of MSRP. I don't know if Pokemon did, but MSRP is really $144. So yes, when I do pre-orders for it, I do the I typically do the MSRP unless I know I'm not getting a lot. So, but I try to say as best as I can. But I look at the market too, because I don't just want to run out day one and then I have nothing in store for like anybody because I sold to people online, or like day one everyone just rushes my store, grabs it, and then I don't have anything for 3 weeks to like 3 months because there's a drought of the print run. But yeah, that's what the MSRP really is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and again, guys, it's something that you have to keep in mind here, is that, like he said, MSRP isn't necessarily $100. Like MSRP is going to fluctuate based upon economic circumstances, and MSRP maybe back in 2016 for I don't know.
Right.
Steam Siege was $100, but
Well, no, actually, it was still 144 because packs are still so. Like if you like the distributor I'm signed up with, they will show the MSRP is $144 on the
okay,
box.
I see.
Yeah, so it's always that. It's the reason why it was cheaper back then a year ago is because people weren't buying it. If that makes sense,
lower,
like that's why when we were talking, okay, people were buying it, but not where it's you can't get it. So we had to accommodate to sell it.
Gotcha.
So
gotcha.
so it's the same thing as online, like where you see like a price of something that comes out, but then online you can maybe find it cheaper. It doesn't mean that that's like the actual price of it. It's just a person is willing to take in $1 or $2 for that item because they have 1,000 of them. So they're going to make $2,000 selling 2,000 of them when me as a game store, I might have 20 of them. So if I match their price, I'm like, oh crap, man, that's $2 times 20. I made $40.
Right.
But they have the volume and the capital, so they're able to do it. That's how it was 2 years ago. But now it's funny because now we're actually selling the boxes for the actual how much they're worth, but a little bit more so just to make sure they're in stock and that supply could go around and people aren't just snagging them up and then reselling it.
Yeah. Crazy. Well, hey man, I think we will go ahead and wrap it up here.
All right.
Thank you so much. And guys, like I said, make sure that if you live here in the Phoenix Valley, make sure that you come out, check out Baxter's games here in Queen Creek. What are the crossroads?
Santan Boulevard and Power.
Santan Boulevard and Power. Like I said, I'll put all of Rocky's information down in the video description as well, so you can check out all of his socials, YouTube. If I hear any more information on the castle and everything that's going on, I will be sure to let you guys know as well. Anything else you want to?
Oh, that's it. I appreciate it. I'm sure, if they want me to talk about anything else in the future, just let me know. Perfect. And yeah, we're good.
Excellent. Well, I would love to have you on again, man. So maybe in the future we'll do it again. Cool. So, all right, guys. Well, everyone, have a great evening. My name is PokéNav. I'm here to help you navigate the world of Pokemon one video at a time, and we will see you all